ever wondered what dangers lurk on the internet, especially in the realm of TikTok? Well, when it comes to TikTok, there are people on TikTok who proclaim to be therapists, and they say some ridiculous things. Things that, if any therapist actually said, would actually get them into huge trouble. Let's explore some of these and explain a little bit more about what exactly makes these people so dangerous for our children and for themselves. There's been a big campaign by mainstream media to smear therapists, and TikTok has been one of the most crucial elements to this smear campaign. Basically, it allows anybody who wants to get up there and claim whatever they want to claim and make videos on it. Very short videos, but they appeal to kids, young kids especially, the kind who go on TikTok. And again, these people claim to be therapists. They claim to want to help people, but there are a few problems with this. First off, right off the bat, is that therapists, the number one golden rule of therapy, therapists do not bring their own views into the therapy room. So these people on TikTok, while they have the right to say what they want to say, claiming to be therapists and speaking to a group of individuals is actually quite detrimental to them as well as the people they're speaking to, because they're bringing their own views into the therapy, and they're also not signing any kind of paperwork. These people, potentially, by not signing paperwork, are still liable for every single person who decides to do what they tell them. Basically meaning that these people are taking on responsibility for their clients. So anybody who is watching these videos or potentially takes the advice of this therapist, who is not in a professional setting, mind you, even if they are therapists, which we don't know, we only have their word, they are potentially taking on the risk of responsibility without any kind of paperwork or anything filled out that would actually allow them to keep their license or be safe. TikTok therapists can be a very big detriment on society as a whole. And I'll demonstrate that in many different ways. But before we get into the more unhinged ones, I want to demonstrate a very subtle way that they can influence you. I'm going to play two different videos without commentary. You tell me which video is the one done by the actual therapist and which one is done by the fake therapist. 4 hidden signs you have high-functioning anxiety. You're a high achiever on the outside, but an overthinker on the inside. You appear calm and put together, but you need reassurance. You perform well under pressure and work yourself until you burn out. Then you overplan and procrastinate. You're cheery and helpful because you people please and lack boundaries.
Here are 3 hidden signs of anxiety. Number 3, having emotional outbursts. This can look like snapping at people or being overly aggressive. Number 2, feeling restless. This can look like having a difficult time sitting still or constantly needing to fidget with something. And one of the most common symptoms I see in my clients with anxiety is irritability.
Which one's the real therapist? Hard to tell? They're very closely modeled after each other. This one is the false therapist, while this one is the real therapist. Hard to tell. Same eye contact, same setting, and it not for the fact that this one said that the clients that she treats, you would never know. There is no verification system on TikTok. These people out there are making these videos, and you have to trust their word or your own research to discover whether or not they actually are a therapist.
It's just so scary to me when I think about this platform and how there are no safeguards. So TikTok, you need to make it to where people who claim to be professionals, mental health professionals, they need to have something at the bottom that says they're verified.
My goal here is to more inform rather than give my opinion. My opinion may slip in certain places, but I think it's important that we break down some of these to understand just how terrifying these can be. A lot of these have been compiled sometimes by libs of TikTok, has made a very good way of pointing out these potential people. But I'm going to bring up some that you may have seen and also some that you may not have seen. And we're going to go through them together and we're going to systematically break them down into what exactly is wrong with them. Hopefully this will shed a light on some of these people so that you can protect your children and protect yourselves.
I hear this loud and clear. And I wholeheartedly agree with you that therapy is about the client and the client only. And my biggest job in a therapeutic relationship is to make sure that I'm doing my best so that the client feels as comfortable as they can. However, somehow we turn basic human rights into political issues.
That's not true. Now, the first part of what she said is great. She says that the job of a therapist is not to bring that kind of agreement. She agrees. And then immediately contradicts herself, which tells you we're in for a ride here.
And I have a problem with that.
There you go. See, and I have a problem with that. Basically meaning that she personally has a problem with it. Now, here's the question I want to pose. What if your client does not have a problem with that?
I never said that I bring politics into a session. I just make sure that I use my voice to stand out for those who can't.
That's not your job. If you want to be an activist, there's plenty of places for you to do that. Go chain yourself to a fence somewhere, if that's what you want.
I'm not quite sure what it is that makes me unethical, but my video that you commented on was about other therapists and the way they were trying to separate some of these political issues from their profession. And it simply cannot be done.
Yes, they can. It has been done for multiple years, way before the invention of social media.
Here's your reminder that fat phobia is rooted in racism.
No, it's not, but okay, let's hear this out.
As always, if you haven't read this book, go do that.
How about new?
The main thing to understand is that for the last 300-ish years, white folks have been marketing fatness as a black trait.
No, they haven't. Anybody can be fat. The problem with being fat is that it's not inherently healthy.
And this is regardless of whether or not black people individually were actually fat. That was irrelevant. The message they spread was that black women specifically were ravenous and uncontrollable, and these barbaric traits made them fat.
Where did you learn this? That book that you're reading is probably rotting your brain.
On the flip side, thinness was marketed as a white trait. Again, regardless of whether or not individual white people were actually thin, that was irrelevant.
No. There are plenty of fat white people.
The idea was that white women specifically were refined and restrained, and this led them to having delicate, thin bodies. Over the years, these messages have become more subtle, but even today, they are still very prevalent in conversations around race, health, capitalism, and poverty.
Okay, so you just took a video that was supposed to be about racism and fat phobia and just brought in a bunch of other things that have nothing to do with it. So already you've now undermined your credibility. So whatever you had to say before, while was very little of that was credible, you just made it even worse.
Therapist who thinks that politics has nothing to do with mental health care, in the face of things like anti-abortion laws, anti-trans bills, anything that involves state violence against bodies of the oppressed, complicit in the same traumas and the same violence that is caused against us.
No, that is inherently false. This person is inferring that if you choose specifically not to work on this, or your client chooses not to work on this, that you are inherently being unethical, which actually is quite hilarious considering bringing any of this kind of stuff into the therapy room unsolicited is actually what would be considered unethical.
You do not get to pick and choose which traumas you are going to talk about, because all traumas are systemic and structural traumas. Therapists step it the fuck up.
It is not the job of the therapist to step up and stand on a soapbox. Not if you want to preach on a soapbox. Again, there's a fence somewhere with your name on it.
Here is the power of TikTok. This comment says, I sent my father this video asking for top surgery, and he said yes. I'm crying. Oh my god. I could quit TikTok today, and I'd be so happy. This makes me so happy. I'm really glad my video helped. Congratulations.
Keep in mind that there are kids watching this. Young kids. Kids who are about to make irreversible changes to their body based on the opinion of some person on TikTok. They are choosing the opinion of a therapist, as she clearly labels that she is one. This video comes off as extremely manipulative, and again, you can't unring that bell. If somebody does go through top surgery and then decides, hey, I'd like my breasts back, you can't just put them back on.
So I figured this question would probably come up sometime soon, just because of the video and the topics that I cover. But let's break this one down. So intentional weight loss, so you purposely saying, I want to lose 20 pounds, is fat phobic.
Not correct. See, this person, again, is claiming to be a therapist and is saying that weight loss, choosing to lose weight, is fat phobic. No, choosing to lose weight is a personal choice.
And you might be like, what? Oh my goodness. I'm not trying to be fat phobic, but you are. You're being fat phobic to yourself.
It's not that you're not trying to be fat phobic, it's also that you're not fat phobic.
Why do you want to lose 20 pounds? It's probably to fit into something smaller. It's probably so people treat you better. It's probably for all the reasons that fat folks are shamed simply for being fat.
Maybe they want to be healthy. Maybe they have their own reasons. Maybe it's none of your business.
So by continuing to perpetuate that, right, seeking intentional weight loss, we are contributing to our fat phobic society. So that's why intentional weight loss is fat phobic.
No, again, society is not fat phobic. The fact that you guys continue to stand on soapboxes and proclaim that society is fat phobic because certain things don't fit you or certain things can't afford your weight is actually caused by engineering. Maybe instead of blaming society for your own skewed opinions, you should again take a deep look within yourself and try to figure out why you have that kind of view. Be very careful what you find on TikTok. Again, the mainstream media is trying its best specifically to smear therapists and the narrative. There are so many articles coming out about things that potentially have nothing to do with therapy, and having people who claim to be therapists speak out on them who actually seem to have no clue what they're talking about. Again, this video is to inform you of just how dangerous these people could be. They can potentially be manipulating you, fooling you even. Who knows if they're even therapists? And these people prey on your emotions, prey on your feelings, prey on the popular topics to get attention, clout, and views. That's all. These people do not actually care about you. Now, I'm not saying there aren't exceptions, but for the most part, these people claiming to be therapists online do not care. They will never care. I can understand why someone might think that they care about them, but again, keep in mind, just because someone is nice to you on a computer screen does not mean that that's who they are in real life. And for all you know, this person could potentially be a 15-year-old child telling you something, and you're going to believe it as if a therapist said it. Now, I'm not saying believe without due process, mind you, but I'm also saying that you need to be careful what you allow your children to view and what you consume. Don't fall for the mainstream media's narrative. They want to change the rules because without rules, there are no boundaries. And without boundaries, we have chaos, which is what we're seeing spreading through social media and society as a whole without stop, without any end in sight. If lines are not drawn and boundaries are not enforced, chaos will continue to spread. And it will get worse from here. If you like what you see, please let me know in the comments below, and also make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe with notifications on so you do not miss your weekly therapy session, or you will be charged. Let me know what you think of my takes in this video. Let me know if you'd like to see more of this kind of content. But again, I would urge you, keep your eyes open, keep your chin up, and don't fall for the narrative the mainstream media is spinning. The culture war exists in multiple planes of existence, including therapy. And this is unfortunately one of the realms where we've already lost. The question is, are we going to take this loss and let them continue to further destroy the fundamentals of therapy? Or are we going to push back and make our voices heard? Share this video, tag a friend, let people know, spread it far and wide. It's time to take back therapy so it could be again for what it originally was always meant to be, about mental health, kindness, two humans connecting with each other, and helping the client above all else. It is not your personal soapbox. It is your place to help others. And if you have lost your way, then you're no therapist to me.